Hello, Trade Pros. This is Victoria from Trade Pro Academy. And I hope you guys are excited for today's video because we've got a video on our favorite and what we think is the best indicator in 2022 on TradingView. So don't mind the hat here. The hair is just wilding out, so I don't want to scare anyone. I want you guys to be focused on this video. So let's see what we got cooking. So TradingView, remember, last year we mentioned the EMA clouds that were the #1 indicator, right? That's exactly what we used throughout all of 2021, but we also used something else, and we're going to break that down for you guys in this video. So 2022, we've already had a few weeks going. I hope you guys have had an amazing start to the year. And if you guys want to check us out, free community.tradeproacademy.com. You can hit us up in Discord and you can chat with us there, right? We got a pretty vibrant community. And also, if you guys are new to the channel, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ding that little bell to notify you when we drop videos like these and when we go live. So why don't we get this rolling? In 2022, our goal is to set out better content and more visually appealing content for you guys. On the screen here, you guys can see, we'll pop that bad boy up. We got ABBV, right? And this is just a simple TradingView chart. And right after this intro, we're gonna run through our favorite 2022 indicator here on TradingView. So let's get started and don't miss out on more videos like these. So on the screen here, we have ABBV. Now we can use any stock that we want. We will use any stock that we want. And overall, something might stick out to you on the screen. Now there is nothing except for volume. And if you guessed it, yeah, volume profile is our favorite indicator in 2022, right? Volume profile. The volume profile is used in many, many different ways. And we will show you how you can use the volume profile to your advantages in your trading journey. I think everyone should be very familiar with the volume profile and everyone should use this quote unquote indicator that you guys can find here on TradingView. Now we're going to break down how to get it on TradingView, what it does, how we use it, and everything in between. So I hope you guys are super excited for that. Step one, right? Where do you find on TradingView? TradingView, if you go up to the little indicator tab, you guys can see that right here. We pop that up. And in the built-ins, right? In the built-ins, you'll see that we have the volume profile. Now, the volume profile here in the built-ins, we got two. You guys can see that they're both starred, right? So we're going to pick up the session volume profile and we're going to pick up the visible range. So when we plot those on, you guys might be curious and think, okay, well, where is the second one? We only see this big ass one right here, right? And this one, on the right-hand side is what we call the visible range volume profile. Now, the visible range volume profile is pretty much what the name implies, right? Whatever is visible on the screen in terms of charting, it will chart it as the volume profile. So right now, the only thing that's visible is somewhat, I guess, from August 2020, and the volume profile takes whatever is on the screen and it displays that. Now, when you double-click the volume profile here, right, you are given the settings. So input, I changed it to 55, right? So I keep it at 55 so I can get a few more levels here. And then the style, right? I just changed the styling to gray and white. So it's a little more visually appealing. For me personally, if it's sitting at that nasty bluish yellow type variety, right, it doesn't look that good. So I changed it. Right now, question is, where is the second volume profile? Now, the second volume profile, as we said, is going to be a session volume profile. So that means that you can only see it in the sessions. So let's drop down. We just went to a 15-minute chart by typing in 15 and enter on TradingView. Now, the session volume profile denotes each session on TradingView, right, in a volume profile manner. So this is one session, another session. The volume profile is only for that session. So now that we added both of these, right, or two, we can dive in a little more. So why is this our favorite charting, right? Why is this our favorite indicator in 2022? So there's a plethora of reasons. Volume and volume profile do dictate price. We have to understand what volume is first. So what is volume, right? Volume is the act of buyers and sellers getting into the market, making sure that the price actually moves. Now, the volume at the bottom, right, the horizontal volume that everyone is probably aware of, should be aware of, is usually by candle, right? Candle by candle shows you the volume, right? Now, common misconception when people see red volume on the red candles, they're like, oh, okay, this is sell volume, right? You technically can only have volume if there are buyers and sellers together. So the combination of volume exchanging hands, right? Some days there's more volume than others, meaning that there's some days there's more trades than others. So that's why you get those extended long volume blocks, right, for each candle. So typically large candles, right, they present us with pretty heavy volume blocks, right? So red candles, you can change it to red volume, right? That's why we look at it in such a way. There's more aggressive selling that changes hands as the volume gets bigger. Now, the volume profile is on the right-hand side or the left-hand side. It is a vertical profile. Now, what this displays is the volume traded at a certain level of price on the stock, the index, whatever it may be that you're looking at. So what this does, it shows us where there are areas of thinly traded volume and largely traded volume. Now, remember, what is volume? Volume dictates the movement of price. Heavier volume indicates that it wants to pull and attract price towards it. Smaller volume rejects price. So remember, keep that in mind as we go through this. Now, as we've customized the volume profile, as we've broken down somewhat what it is, let's dive into it a lot more. We got to talk about the volume profile principles. Now, if we zoom in on the chart here, we're going to look at this a little more intently. So remember, volume has two functions, and that's confirming price validity and rejecting price validity. So when we look at this and we look at the volume profile, right, if it's our vertical representation of what volume is, we can see that there are these bellies, right? Now, bellies are going to be a very important aspect to the volume profile. So keep that in mind. These are going to be like liquidity bellies. This identifies where there's a lot of volume traded versus a small amount of volume traded. So it's a good way to identify where balance sits in the market. So what does that mean necessarily? Now, the basics, we have to understand the components of the volume profile. So why don't we start drawing on the screen and break everything down here for you guys? And the basics in terms of the volume profile, you can see that not all areas are the same. Naturally, there's some things that stick out. So we have an area right here, which is a darker block on the volume profile. Now, this darker block on the volume profile, you can see there's transparency outside of the volume profile, right? This darker block of the volume profile is called the value area or the VA. This is where 70% of the volume on the session, on the fixed time, whatever it is, has been traded. So it's a very important tool because this is known as balance, right? If the majority of volume is traded within one area, that is a balanced area. Now, this value area is sandwiched by two levels, right? The value area high and then the value area low, right where we drop off into what we call just regular outer value area volume, right? Now, the value area high and value area low, you guys can see, are going to be the top end and the bottom end. So they sandwich the value area. There's another key important aspect, and that is going to be this red line, which is the point of control or the POC, which denotes the largest traded level of volume in that session, in the market, in whatever time frame you are looking at. So we have another area, right, which is going to be denoted as the high value, the high volume node and the low volume node. So the high volume node, obviously there's going to be a big one around the POC, but the high volume nodes are large volume nodes that stick out aggressively, right? The low volume nodes are going to be the small volume nodes that you can see that encompass price. Now, it's the same thing when we look at the session volume profile. We may have to zoom in a little to see each session, right? Well, this one's a gap currently right here, but you can see there is the value area low, value area high. We have the low volume nodes, high volume nodes as well, and then the POC. So everything is right there as is on every session. So keep that in mind. So we're going to talk about how we use these areas, how we use these profiles, how we use the levels, the ledges, and all that good stuff. But we have to understand first and foremost, what does the volume profile tell us, right? What is the purpose of the volume profile? So if we break this down, simply put, right, what we have is price distribution. So think of this as a bell curve turned on its side, right? If we have a bell curve turned on its side, we have the first standard deviation, which is 68% of, right, the data, which in the volume profile, it's 70%, right? You can round it up, but the first standard deviation is the majority of the data and everything outside is the lesser portion of the data, meaning that within this block, we're going to see what we call balance or fair value. And everything outside of this area is what we call unfair value or imbalance. So what do we have by this? We can see that within each value area, we're going to attempt to keep price stagnant, right? So day by day, if we escape said value area, we are going to look for more balance, right? Think of it this way. We have a bell curve like this, and when we escape price balance, right, we're going to look for other balance or create our own balance, right? So that is why prices move. They look for balance day in and day out. So we have this huge balance that starts the week, let's say right here on ABBV, right? The idea is when we escape the balance, right, we are going to look at the value area lows or value area highs as support and resistance areas. So there are a few principles that we must understand before we understand more so of this volume profile. Based on a distribution, right? Let's just say that this is the value area, right? This is our value area distribution. Let's just say that, right? There are a few things that usually happen. Price wants to remain within said value area, right? And doing so, it just confirms balance. When price escapes the value area, right? Upside or downside, regardless of the fact, it will use the value area lows, right? Ideally as support resistance areas, right? Should this fail, when we move back into balance, right? From the downside, the target is going to be the top end of the balance, right? Same thing. If we move in from the downside, the target is going to be the bottom end of this balance. So keep that in mind as you look at the volume profile. So when we get out of the balanced area, we're going to be looking for balance elsewhere, right? So why don't we denote, first of all, our areas of interest just based purely on the volume profile value area highs and value area lows. So here we're hidden a little. So why don't we just move it a little, right? We're hidden a little by the POC, but that's fine. We use this area, right? We're going to use this area as well, right? We can use this bottom area. And all we're doing is finding just key support resistance areas based on our value areas, right? It becomes that simple. So we go day by day, right? We don't want to necessarily just jumble everything up, even though we have a bunch of lines on our charts now. So we go day by day and we understand, okay, what's going on. So day one, we create the value right here into this box, right? We try to escape, so what? The key is we use this information for the next following day. If we escape to the upside, right, we are looking for the hold of support for the next level. If we escape to the downside, as we did, what are we doing? We're using the value area lows as key resistance to reject price to look for balance yet again, right? We could not accept balance back into this area, therefore we reject it. So this day confirms, right? Now we have a new balance that sits around here somewhere, right? So the idea is we reject balance, we come up, we hold the value area highs relatively well for the attempted push lower, right? Next day, right, we have a new balance here. We've got a new balance here. And remember, we can use old balance as well. Prior value area highs are here, right? Prior value area highs are all the way up here. So when we reject this balance out of the balance, and what do? Right? We come back into one of the value area highs and lows, right, from prior days, and we hold that area and we move up into the top of that prior balance, right? Same thing. Next day, we hold balance fairly well, rejecting. As long as we stay within balance, we can use this as support resistance, right? Next day, pretty much same thing. And then finally, this anomaly of a gap down based on dividends. So these principles can be used on an intraday basis or just generally on a larger scale. So what if we just take everything out of here, right? What if we take everything out of here and we look at it on a daily? Because so far we've been kind of breaking it down as in a day trade perspective. We look at this on a daily basis, right? What do we see? We see on ABBV large areas, and these are large nodes versus small nodes. So the key is, can we find ledges? So the ledge is defined as the breaking point between a large volume area and a small volume area, right? So a large volume node beside a low volume node creates this ledge, which is a drop off because that opens up the doors for a move either upside or downside or whatever it may be. So let's take this ledge into consideration here. Right, we got this big volume profile ledge, and we can see, okay, we have established this area, right? Let's make it a little easier on the eyes. So we've established this area as a massive range. So you guys can see we've established just volume in the block below. There's a lot of just volume at that bottom. But what you'll notice is there's a ledge. So like realistically on a ledge, I'm trying to think of an analogy, but it's not coming to me. When you think of a ledge, right? A ledge just drops off. When you drop off a ledge off a cliff, ideally, as terrible as it sounds, the only thing that's going to stop you is another barrier, right? So think of it in that way for a volume profile. Should you, right? Ideally, the ledge is there and you're cognizant of the ledge so you don't tread around the ledge. But should you make the mistake and flip over the ledge, right? What are you going to do? You're going to continue moving until the next barrier is found. So this is where the high volume nodes, right, versus low volume nodes come into play. Realistically, a ledge is meant to reject price until eventually, right? When you break price, you're going to look for the next large volume area, which in this case for ABBV, right? We break the ledge from about 108, 109, let's call it. We break the ledge between 109, right? And then the next ideal target is around 115 to 118. That is where the next big volume is. Once you break that, right, sky's the limit because you're starting to move into all-time high territories. So you can use this for swing trading, you can use this for day trading, and overall understanding what the market sentiment is and where that market is expected to go. This is why it's our favorite indicator here on TradingView. You guys can get this for free as well, right? So our favorite 2022 TradingView indicator, the volume profile, has many uses. We understood what the distributions meant. We can go into any different stock and look at it in the same way, right? AMD here, for example, what happened? We had this huge ledge around this like 95 area, right? These like prior highs. What happened? We broke out, and since AMD didn't have any other interest above that area, right? It creates an all-time high. And when that all-time high kind of just rotates and distributes its own value, right? It creates its own value block right here. You guys can see it, right? Surrounded by the ledges. Then what happens? Once we break above here, right? The target is going to be to the upside, and we're going to look for the longs to continue the move. Pretty simple. And then now we've created another distribution, right? We can see that the large distribution starts somewhere here, right? And let's say it ends somewhere here. But overall, it's a very big distribution at these tops. So when we break below these distribution levels, what are we going to do? We're going to start targeting the next areas to the downside. So just keep that in mind, right? This is a good way to understand what the sentiment may be and where the market may be moving. So SMH as well, right? You can see this is a very strong semi ETF, and you can see where the ledges, we've had this big distribution. I've kind of just clamped the two ledges together. So we just sandwich them and understand. We start breaking below this 290. It spells trouble for SMH and the overall market. So if you guys enjoyed that, right, just hit that like button for sure, because what we got going on here is, like I said, the best and our favorite 2022 indicator for TradingView. And I think if you understand correctly how to use it, it could be a very profitable tool in your trading in this year, right? Let's make sure we have the best year of all time trading wise, right? And attack the market very tactically and understand, right, what the moves are. And we can understand what the moves are and what the expected moves are based on the volume profiles, right? As we have shown you here. So remember, if you're new to the volume profile, watch this video a few times. Google a few things, right? Understand what distributions are and how volume tends to work. And remember, volume attracts price. So if you guys are excited to learn more about this, just drop a comment down below. If you want to join a community of amazing traders, community.tradeproacademy.com, where we have a free trading community. And if you enjoyed the quality of this video and you like more videos like this, and we're going to keep improving that quality, just drop a like down below and hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. So thank you for watching and listening, and we'll see you guys next time.